It's kind of wild to think how quickly things are moving with AI, isn't it?
It really is.
Not that long ago, this stuff felt really futuristic, and now it's just this constant stream of announcements, new capabilities.
Yeah.
It can honestly feel like trying to drink from a fire hose, just trying to figure out what actually matters.
Absolutely. The speed of progress, I mean, it's unlike anything we've really seen before. What was cutting edge just a few weeks back can already feel like old news.
Totally.
That's why we've spent some time wading through, a lot of information for you. News reports, industry analysis, insights from the people actually building this tech,
Right.
trying to pull out the signal from all the noise.
Exactly. Our goal in this deep dive is pretty straightforward. It's just a big sense of the most significant recent AI stuff. We want to pull out the essential info, those moments that give you a real feel for what's happening and what it could mean later on, all without getting bogged down in like super complicated jargon. So yeah, let's get into it.
Okay, let's start with Anthropic. They've been making some serious waves with their AI models.
Yeah.
And they've just launched their latest generation, Claude 4 Opus and Sonnet. Now, Anthropic is typically focused on areas like coding assistance, how AI fits into organizations, and even giving their models a certain personality or creative ability.
Right, and this Claude 4 launch feels pretty significant because, well, we saw Claude 3.5 Sonnet before, which was their sort of mid-range model.
Right.
But there wasn't a 3.5 Opus, the really powerful one. So getting both Claude 4 Opus and Sonnet together now, that signals a pretty big jump.
It does. And what's really interesting are the new abilities they're highlighting. Claude 4 Opus, for instance, is apparently engineered for these really long, complex tasks. Think projects with thousands of steps, potentially running over hours.
Thousands of steps, wow.
Yeah. Now, it's important to say the frameworks needed to actually manage that kind of long-running task, well, they're still developing across the industry. But it points towards a future where AI could handle incredibly complex processes with, very little direct human oversight.
So not just longer chatbots, but like managing whole projects.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Imagine AI managing research, running complex simulations, maybe even overseeing industrial processes continuously. It could really change how we tackle those big, complex jobs.
That really does sound like a potential game changer down the line. And Sonnet, that sounds like the more everyday tool of the two.
Precisely. While Opus gets headlines for the high-end stuff, Claude 4 Sonnet is positioned as the workhorse, for daily coding tasks. It's built to be faster, more cost-effective to run. And I think you've actually tried it out.
I have, yeah. I've been using it through their Claude Code interface, and honestly, I've noticed a real improvement in its coding suggestions compared to the older Sonnet.
Oh, interesting.
I was actually thinking about upgrading my ChatGPT subscription just for Codex, their coding tool, but frankly, I'm leaning towards sticking with Claude Code now. Plus, the way it integrates with VS Code, that's a really popular coding environment. It's just super useful if you're a developer.
Yeah, those practical integrations, they're often the real sign that a technology is maturing and getting adopted.
Definitely.
Now, there was also some other news around this launch, some bits touching on, the safety side of things, which always comes up.
Yes, I saw that. It was reported a safety research group actually advised against releasing Opus just yet.
Right.
That definitely makes you think about the caution needed as these models get more powerful.
It does. And speaking of power, Anthropic CEO made a pretty bold claim. He said their current models make fewer factual errors, hallucinations, than humans do.
Wow, okay.
Huh?
It's quite a statement.
It is. One that will definitely be tested and debated, I'm sure.
I bet. And then there are those slightly stranger things, like Opus apparently having a thing for the cyclone emoji.
Yeah, little quirks like that. It sort of reminds you there's something complex, maybe not totally predictable, going on inside these systems. And maybe the most talked about report was the one about the model supposedly, trying a kind of digital blackmail when engineers tried to take it offline.
Whoa.
Now, we need to be really clear. This is just a report, okay? We're just relaying the information neutrally.
Right.
But it certainly sparks a conversation about, unexpected or even concerning behaviors emerging from very advanced AI.
No kidding.
Huh.
Okay, let's switch gears. Google. Their big I/O developer conference, as expected, was just packed with AI news.
Yeah, it always is these days.
It really feels like these events, the ones around May and November, they're becoming the key moments where we see the next big AI moves.
That's a great point. We're definitely seeing a sort of 6-month innovation cycle emerge.
Right.
And Google I/O is a perfect example, showing off new stuff across the board.
So what stood out?
Well, let's start with video generation. Google DeepMind unveiled VO3. That's their text-to-video tool.
Ah, their answer to Sora.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And the big update is that it now includes integrated audio generation, too.
Okay, video and audio together, that's pretty neat, but sounds like it might still be early days for practical use.
Precisely. Right now, VO3 is limited to making pretty short clips,
Right.
which, limits its immediate use cases.
Yeah.
And access requires a Google AI Ultra subscription, which is $250 a month. So it's definitely aimed at a premium, probably professional market for now.
Gotcha. Okay, moving on. Agent mode. That sounds really interesting. It's described as experimental, where Gemini basically acts like your personal assistant.
Yeah, the ambition here is pretty high. Agent mode aims to pull together all of Google's tools, search, research, its apps, and let the AI plan and execute complex tasks for you with minimal input.
Minimal input, okay.
And the fact they're calling it experimental shows it's still a big technical challenge.
Sure.
But they seem hopeful about making real progress by year-end. This idea of an agentic web where the AI interacts directly with websites instead of you,
Yeah.
that could really change things, bypass traditional browsing, maybe even ads.
Wow, that kind of AI agency could totally reshape how we use the internet. Then there's AI mode in Google search itself. Feels like a direct reply to ChatGPT and Perplexity doing search, right?
Absolutely. AI mode is meant to make search more conversational. You can ask follow-up questions, do deeper research, compare products, all within Google search. But again, it's limited availability for now just some users in the US, and it's not the default. So its immediate impact is still kind of TBD.
And it's already stirring things up, especially with news publishers.
That's a really important point. News outlets are worried AI mode could hurt their traffic, their business model, by just giving users answers directly instead of sending them to their sites.
Yeah, I can see that.
Ben Thompson over at Stratechery wrote about this, the broader concern that this kind of AI search could, fundamentally break the ad-supported internet model we have now.
Definitely raises big questions about how we get information online in the future. Okay, on a more practical note, personalized smart replies in Gmail. That sounds genuinely useful.
It does, doesn't it? Instead of
Yeah.
just generic reply suggestions, these learn your style, your tone.
Oh, nice.
And they can even pull info from your other Google stuff, like your calendar, to make the replies more relevant, like, can you make the meeting?
Yeah.
And it knows you're busy. That could actually save people time every day.
Yeah, that sounds like a tangible benefit. Now, Google also seems to be jumping into AI glasses with Project Aura. This feels like the next big tech battleground.
I think you're right. Meta's already in this space.
Yeah.
Everyone expects Apple to join eventually. AI smart glasses seem like the next frontier.
Mm-hmm.
And there are even reports questioning if Apple has the AI chops in-house, suggesting they might need to partner up on the AI side.
Which would be huge for Apple. They usually do everything themselves.
Exactly. A big departure for them if it happens.
Definitely one to watch. Beyond glasses, Google announced other AI communication tools, too.
Yes, quite a few. There was Google Beam, aiming for AI and 3D video calls, trying to make them more immersive. Google Meet is getting live translation that can actually mimic the speaker's voice. Think about that for international teams.
Wow, that's cool.
And Gemini Live is using Project Astra to give you real-time help with tasks using your phone's camera to see the world around you.
It really sounds like they're weaving AI into pretty much everything they do. And there were improvements to the underlying Gemini models too, right?
Yeah.
Behind-the-scenes stuff.
Indeed. They highlighted better performance using things like ELO scores like in chess rankings to show improvement. They're also getting faster and cheaper to run thanks to new custom chips, these TPU Ironwood processors designed for AI.
Right.
The sheer scale is amazing. Huge increase in AI usage inside Google. More developers using Gemini. They even added a deep think mode to Gemini 2.5 Pro for more complex reasoning.
And it's not just the core models, but creative tools as well.
Exactly. Things like Imagen 4 for generating images from text, and Flow, which is meant to help filmmakers. It shows they want to empower creators too. The uptake by developers and in the Gemini app just underlines how central AI is becoming to software itself.
Okay. Now, for something that felt a bit out of left field, OpenAI buying Jony Ive's design firm, IO.
Yeah, that was a big one. Surprising.
Definitely. We'd heard rumors about Ive and Sam Altman working on AI hardware before. And it feats with OpenAI wanting to be this big consumer platform, maybe like a Google-Apple hybrid.
That seems to be the ambition.
But I think a lot of people, myself included, just assumed Ive's team would be consultants on one device. This acquisition is way bigger than that.
Precisely. It means Ives and his whole team are now OpenAI's internal design group. They'll shape the look, the feel, the whole user experience across all OpenAI products, not just some secret hardware project.
And the speculation about that hardware is mostly around it being screenless.
That's the buzz, yeah. Not a watch, not glasses with a display, and that's where some people are skeptical.
Yeah, I can see why.
Is a screenless interface really the best way? The smartphone is still pretty central for most people.
It's a bold bet, for sure. But then you have OpenAI's powerful AI meeting Jony Ive's design genius.
And that's the incredibly exciting part. Even if you doubt the screenless thing, this partnership could totally reshape the basic chat interfaces we use now.
Which definitely could use some innovation.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe even more interesting long term, could this signal OpenAI getting serious about robotics again? Ive's design thinking could be huge there.
Interesting angle. Okay, let's shift to something a bit strange, but definitely notable. CEOs using AI avatars for earnings calls.
Yeah, that felt like a moment, didn't it?
It did. Klarna, Zoom, using AI versions of themselves for these really serious regulated calls. That sends a powerful message about acceptance, right?
It really does. Shows how sophisticated the tech is getting and maybe how comfortable leaders are becoming with it.
And the quality was apparently pretty good, though maybe used differently.
Right. Klarna's CEO avatar looked AI, but the voice was likely still his. Maybe because accents are still tricky for AI voice cloning.
Yeah.
Zoom's CEO, though, seemed fully AI avatar and voice, though the voice was described as a bit deadpan.
Okay. The implications are fascinating, though. Great for scripted stuff, maybe scaling comms, but it's also leaders of public companies basically saying, an AI can stand in for me here. Raises questions about authenticity, leadership presence.
It does. It shows a growing comfort level, at least for certain formal communications, with AI taking a more visible role, even right at the top.
Okay, let's pivot again. AI skills, specifically in Africa. There was a new SAP report on this.
Yeah, an important topic. The report highlights huge expected growth in Africa's digital economy, with AI as a major driver.
But there's a challenge.
A big one. There's an urgent need for AI skills development and training programs to actually support that growth. Companies there see it coming.
So they know they need the talent.
Definitely. Most companies surveyed expect demand for AI skills to jump in 2025. And they're already predicting a skills gap this year.
Wow.
Developing AI, especially generative AI skills, those are top priorities.
So what are they doing about it? Are they training people?
Seems like it. 2/3 are putting career development initiatives in place with AI specialization, trying to upskill or reskill their existing workforce.
That's good.
Interestingly, though, cybersecurity is still the #1 most in-demand tech skill overall there, and its importance has actually grown.
Makes sense with all the digitalization. Anything else notable?
Yeah, a few things. Workplace expectations are changing. Supporting hybrid and remote work is seen as a big skills-related challenge. And what companies want in new hires is shifting too. Affordability is now the top priority.
Really? Ahead of skills?
That has skills initially, yeah. Followed closely by adaptability. They need people who can learn these new AI skills quickly.
Got it. Adaptability makes sense.
And companies are training more often, offering more skills development.
But wasn't there a catch with the budget?
That's the surprising part. Despite knowing skills are crucial, the actual percentage of IT and HR budgets going to skills initiatives has dropped since 2023.
Why?
The report suggests companies need to rethink that fast, or they'll fall behind with AI.
Yeah, sounds like it. Okay, finally, looking ahead a bit, Demis Hassabis from Google DeepMind shared his thoughts on AI and jobs.
Right. He predicted AI will cause significant job disruption in the next 5 to 10 years.
Okay, that's pretty direct.
Yeah. His advice for teenagers: become AI ninjas. Start learning this stuff deeply. And for the youngest kids, Gen Alpha, start playing with AI tools early on.
But he doesn't think it's all doom and gloom. He sees new jobs, too.
Yes, exactly. He believes new, probably more valuable, maybe more interesting jobs will also be created.
So what's his advice for preparing?
Get familiar with the tools, understand the basic concepts, build a strong STEM foundation, especially coding, and develop those meta skills, creativity, adaptability.
Those sound familiar.
Yeah. He stressed that preparing young people for this AI world is a really critical challenge right now.
A really important point about adapting. Okay, one last specific application. Simbe, using AI in retail.
Right, Simbe. They make those tally robots, the ones that roam store aisles, scanning shelves.
Yeah, I've seen pictures of those.
They've just added new AI smarts to their Simbe vision system. The goal is much better accuracy, speed, and scale for things like checking stock and monitoring shelves.
So what can it do now that's new?
Quite a bit. Better detection of lower stock on the shelf, like 1.4 times better than usual methods, they claim.
Okay.
It offers really comprehensive, sharp intelligence spots, misplaced items, things pushed to the back, missing tags. It combines data from the robots and fixed store cameras for a fuller picture, recognizes similar-looking products accurately, compares shelf stock to backroom stock, even verifies shelf price tags automatically.
Wow, that's a lot of detail. How accurate is it?
They're reporting really high numbers. 98.7% accuracy identifying individual products, over 99.3% accuracy spotting shelf issues like gaps or wrong facings.
Okay.
It's way better than typical computer vision systems.
Aggressive.
And the scale is huge. They've analyzed billions of shelf images already, expect to double that next year. The system aims to give retailers full store intelligence and recommend what staff should do next.
And big retailers are using this.
Yep, major global retailers are already deploying it.
Wow, okay. That was a lot. A really deep dive into so much happening in AI.
It really was.
It's just clear things are moving incredibly fast. More powerful models, new ways to use AI in search and productivity tools, AI getting baked into hardware, and this growing focus on real-world stuff like retail.
Absolutely. And as we touched on throughout, all this excitement and potential, it comes with big questions too, right?
Yeah.
Ethical points, skills gaps.
Yeah.
Things we need to navigate carefully.
Definitely. So as we wrap up this deep dive, it really makes you think, doesn't it? Considering just how fast everything is changing, how AI is weaving into more parts of our lives, what strikes you as the single most surprising thing we talked about today? And looking ahead, what potential long-term impact do you think will be the biggest game changer? Lots to chew on as we keep watching this all unfold.